Are you looking to lose weight in your life right now? Well, today I want to share the 5-step approach that I would take if I was trying to lose weight in my life and sustain it for the long term. So if you're trying to lose weight, make sure you watch this. When you look at the weight loss journey, it's a really challenging journey for someone to go on. And the reason is that you've got to change a lot of behaviors over a long period of time to get the result that you want to achieve. And a lot of people can't do that, or even when they achieve that goal, they end up slipping back to the earlier version of themselves. They end up putting the weight back on. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately because the weight loss journey is, to me, one of the, when people actually lose weight and sustain it for a long time, I have a lot of respect for those people because it is a hard thing to do. And I was thinking about what would I do if I was trying to lose weight? Now, I'll be honest, I've never been overweight in my life. It's not a challenge I've had to face, but I do think this is how I would approach it. Now, there's kind of 3 things I want to identify first. So there's going to be 5 steps I'm going to teach you, but I think the first 3 things is, first of all, you've got to accept it's going to be a long journey, because it's going to be a long journey because weight loss takes time. People sell the extreme diets, but extreme diets don't work for long-time sustainable behaviors or sustainable change. Secondly, it's both a practical and emotional journey that you're going to have to go on as you're doing this. And thirdly, to understand that you're going to have to do work to be successful. So those are kind of some foundational things you're going to get in place. But let's look at how I would approach a weight loss journey. So step number 1 is I would create an effort habit first. And what do I mean by an effort habit? Well, what we want to understand is on a weight loss journey, there's lots of little effort moments that you need to overcome. So it might be, one of the effort moments is I want to plan my food for a week on a Sunday afternoon. So I might plan all my lunch times and all my dinner meals for the week on a Sunday afternoon. Now, we all understand that if you put that time in on a Sunday afternoon and spend a couple hours cooking all your meals for the week, there's a much higher chance you're going to be successful in eating the right portions, eating the right food, and so on. But that takes effort on a Sunday afternoon, that 2 hours of effort. Or it might be when I'm feeling tired and fatigued, I'd normally eat junk food or sweet snacks. And that moment I've got to understand I need the effort to put my focus in the right area. Now, I'm a big believer in life that when it comes to effort, we need to have structures that put the effort in place, or that give us the ability to put effort in place. So the first point I would put in place would be, I'd be looking to create a structure that made me really good at effort. It might be each morning when you wake up, you spend 10 to 15 minutes scanning the day to think about moments where nutrition could be a problem and identify what you're going to do at those moments to make sure you're successful. Now, do you think that if you got up in the morning and you planned 15 minutes to look at when am I going to be eating, how do I make sure I'm eating the right things at the right time so I've got the right energy, but also sticking to my plan, do you think that when you hit those moments, you'd be more successful? And that's where the effort thing, kind of the effort structure. Now, I like to do this in both a big way and a small way, so maybe in a weekly way or in a daily way. But an effort structure tool is a really important part of the journey. Second is, what we want to do is we want to spend time brainstorming all the reasons why you struggle with weight. And what we're doing here is we're kind of doing a massive brainstorm of all the problems I need to overcome along the way. So it might be that when I prepare food for my family, I eat a lot of food when I'm preparing food. It might be that when I'm getting tired and lazy, I just use junk food or Uber Eats or something like that to grab food, which means I tend to eat too much of the wrong type of foods. It might be that when I'm feeling bad about myself, I use junk food as a reason to kind of emotionally escape in that place. And what you want to do is you want to do a deep brainstorm of all the different times that create bad choices around nutrition. Because I imagine even with people who are overweight, sometimes they're making really good decisions, but a lot of times they are not. And what we're going to do is we're going to spend the time identifying the problems that you need to face. And because this is really important. So that first step and step number 2 is to brainstorm all the reasons why you think your weight is a struggle. The second thing we want to do then is to identify 1 or 2 areas that we're going to focus on for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So what you might say that, for example, is that you eat too much for lunch, and when you're fatigued, chocolate, you eat way too much chocolate. So you might have 10 to 15 things that really are the reasons you're overweight. But for the next 3 or 4 weeks, you're just going to focus on 2 of these areas. That's kind of step number 2. Brainstorms all the reasons why you're overweight. And then secondly, identify 2 areas that you're going to try to nail for the next moment of time. Step number 3, this is when it comes to the kind of strategy and plan. So from there, what we're looking to do is we're looking to use strategies and planning to overcome the areas that we've identified. So there's a few ways we can look at this. So first of all, we want to look at the practical and we want to look at the emotional side of it. So for example, with the lunch, I'm eating way too much of the wrong foods. So what do I need to do? Well, I need to practically plan better foods at that time. And a way I like to look at it is I want to reduce calories using better macros and micros in my lunchtime. So it might be that I'm going to change my lunchtime meal, but I'm also going to change it to healthier foods that are a better fit of the overall range of macro and micros I want. And then secondly, I want to reduce the size of the meal to a point where I'm in a calorie deficit kind of place. So that might be the practical side. These are the foods I'm going to eat when I'm in this place. But then we might look at the emotional time. So when I'm tired, I eat chocolate. So what's my strategy for when I'm tired? Okay, my strategy might be when I'm tired, I'm going to find a quiet space either at work or at home and have a quick 5-minute nap or a 10-minute nap. And then once I've had that nap, I'm just going to spend a couple moments resetting where I want to put my focus over the next period of time. Or it might be because I'm tired or I eat chocolate because I'm emotional, I might try to find a better way to deal with the emotions. So when I'm feeling emotionally tired, I might ring a friend just to offload the emotion that I'm going through. So what we're doing in step number 3 is we've chosen those 2 areas. For example, I'm eating too much at lunch, and when I get emotionally tired, I eat chocolate. I'm trying to develop strategies that I'm going to practice at these times. Now, the thing I always love to go to is you're an intelligent person and you're probably a really good problem solver. And if you were to spend time developing strategies and plans, you could probably overcome the problems that you face. It's just that most people don't spend the time doing that work. So what you want to do is, again, identify 1 or 2 areas, develop the strategies you're going to practice at those times. Now, I'll be honest, you may not be a master of those strategies at that time at first. What you're trying to do is learn and tweak as you go along. And that kind of goes into step number 4. Step number 4 is to practice and try to make the new behaviors a habit that you know you can sustain for a long term. So for example, let's just use these 2 examples I've shared there. So over time, you're trying to learn how do I plan that lunchtime so I've got the right micros and macros and that calorie deficit in place. How do I plan that? So each lunchtime, that's just what I do. And so habitually, I'm just eating the same food each lunchtime. And then how do I become a legend at planning those emotionally tired times in my life so that eventually I'm practicing that over and over again. So when I identify I'm feeling emotionally tired, I know to go to, I need a 5-minute nap right now, and I'm going to call a friend to reconnect and offload the emotions that I'm going through. Now, this is this really important step because what we're trying to get to is the point where that part of your life is now in a good place with your behaviors, both emotionally and practically, but also it's almost like habitual. It's just, this is what I do at lunchtime, or this is what I do when I'm feeling emotionally tired. And if we can get those things right, well, then we're in a good place because we don't need to think about maintaining them for long term. Because habit is when I don't have to think about the thing that I consistently do. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to make an old problem into a new habit in a much healthier way, which means we're going in the direction we want to go in a sustainable long-term way. Step number 5 is really simple. Once you've become a habit person in those 2 areas, you go back to step number 2 and look at your brainstorming list and focus on another couple of areas. And then what you do is you go through that same process. Okay, it might be that when I have to plan food for my family, I tend to overeat and I tend to eat in the planning and I tend to overeat in my meal. Okay, well, what are the problems I have to overcome? And you identify those problems, you develop strategies, you practice strategies, and then you develop a new habit set. Now, obviously, this is going to take a little bit longer than what most people want on a weight loss journey. Because what most people want on a weight loss journey is quick results in an unrealistic way. Well, they want quick, fast results, but ultimately what they do is they often do it in an unrealistic way, which is not creating long-term behaviors. If you want to create change, You don't just want to create it for a moment, you want to create it for the long term in your life. And my 5-step approach gives you the ability to build long-term habits that are sustainable, that are proven, that you can layer on top of, which will actually get you to the place you want to get to, where you're feeling great about yourself around your weight. So to recap, the first thing is you've got to accept that there's going to be effort, and you've got to plan for those effort moments in your days. Secondly, brainstorm all the reasons why you are currently overweight. Once you've done that, then you're going to pick one or two areas you're going to focus on for a short period of time, and then you're going to go to step number 3, which is strategically think about how you can become great at overcoming those problems. Step number 4 is practice those strategies until they become a new habit, and then go back to step number 2 once you get to step number 5. I hope that makes sense. Step number 2 once you go to 5. From there, you're building a framework for a lifestyle that you can maintain for the long term, and you're developing healthy ways to overcome both the practical and emotional side of a weight loss journey. Now, I'm going to be honest, this will take effort, and it'll take a lot of effort. But if you can do it this way, you'll lose the weight, and you'll lose it for the long term in your life. And let's be honest, ultimately, that's what you want. If you enjoy my pieces and you want to bring exercise into your life, you need to check out my book, I Will Make You Passionate About Exercise. This book is designed to be a step-by-step journey that teaches you the right lessons and experiences to guide bringing exercise into your life, not just for a moment, but where you get to the place where you have a long-term love of exercise. So you get fitter, you get healthier, you have great stress releases, and you feel amazing about yourself. This book has been hugely successful, getting into the top 10 in the world for health and fitness books. So if it's time for you to bring health and fitness into your life, go to Passion About Exercise, click on the link, go through the process, and you can be starting your journey of finding your love for exercise really soon.